Hi, you guys. Okay, so I just had to get gas because, yeah, I was damn near running on fumes. So I am on my way to a fitness class, but oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I wanted to talk about Shane Dawson. Now, if you guys follow me or if you guys are watching this video, you guys probably know how I feel about Shane Dawson, and you probably have the same thoughts and opinions that I do about Shane Dawson. But spoiler alert, I do not like the man. So if you are here because you like him, I mean, I encourage you to listen, but you don't have to. But here it goes. So Shane Dawson has been off the internet for about 2 years, and like, he hasn't uploaded a video in about 2 years, and it's because he was canceled. And this isn't the first time he was canceled, and I don't really think cancellation is a thing, especially for cis white men. I truly don't think there's they don't get canceled. And anyway, so Shane Dawson made a video, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not watch the video. However, I did watch It's Malcolm, and he did a fantastic job on his video breaking down Shane Dawson's video, and he did insert clips. So if you guys want to know what Shane talked about, and hear it straight from his mouth without giving him the view, I advise you guys to go watch Malcolm's video. I will, of course, leave that link in the description box. So It's Malcolm did an amazing job, and I'm probably going to reiterate a lot of the things that he said in his video just because I feel the exact same way that he does. And who else am I going to talk to about this? Like, I have to talk this out. So, oh, and also Def Noodles did like a little blurb on his, on his video about Shane Dawson. So let's talk about how Shane Dawson has quote unquote changed. He has not. And I don't know why people get this idea that he's changed just because he apologized. And it makes me so sad for society, because people think just because somebody said the words, "I'm sorry," that they should automatically be forgiven. And I have been preaching this for years. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you know what I'm about to say. The only form of apology that we accept is changed behavior. Now, a lot of people will say, well, Shane has changed because he doesn't do the same jokes. Just because he doesn't do the same jokes doesn't mean he's changed his thoughts or anything. And it shows. If you guys watch, this man is so calculated. If you just watch, about to run this red light, and I don't care. Well, actually, it was yellow to red, but that's besides the point. You guys, Shane is so calculated, and he has not changed his way of thinking, and I'll get there in a second. But Shane, like, if the same jokes were acceptable now, he would still be doing those jokes. And I don't see how you guys don't see that. Because in the video, he said something along the lines of how he realizes that, how insensitive his jokes were, but they did help some people. So that's why he had a hard time deleting those videos or getting rid of them, because he worked so hard, and it did help some people. He doesn't care about the people that it offended. He didn't care that it offended people of color. If he felt like it offended them, or if he felt bad, or if he even understood the harm that those jokes caused to people of color, black women specifically, then he wouldn't have had a problem taking those videos down. And Accountability isn't, again, it's not just saying, I'm sorry. That is not accountability. Because you can say you're sorry over and over and over again, but until you change your behavior, those sorries mean nothing. And another reason I know he hasn't changed his behavior is because he's still hanging around trash people. He was just in a Jeffree Star video like 2-3 days ago. Jeffree Star is a violent racist. And for people to think otherwise, it's mind-blowing. These two human beings, these two individuals, they're both just, like they're just so cringe, and birds of a feather flock together. So yeah, of course, they're going to be friends. And a lot of people are like, well, just because a friend does something, no. Because I'm not going to hang around people who do and say things that I don't agree with. And I'm not talking politically or anything like that, but I don't think basic human rights are political. I don't think things like Black Lives Matter is political. I don't think things like LGBTQ plus rights, I don't think those are political. But people say like, oh, well, our generation is soft, or, you know, Shane Dawson's jokes were okay back in the day. No, they were not. They were never okay. And Def Noodles brought up a very good point. I want to say it was Francesca Ramsey, and she complained about Shane Dawson and his racism years ago, but it fell on deaf ears because she is a Black woman and Shane is a white man, and nobody cares about the feelings of Black women. But when we get upset and we feel like we have to voice our opinions louder, or we get angry, then we get labeled as, oh, why are you so hostile? Oh, why are you so aggressive? Maybe because we've been saying this for years, but nobody wants to listen to us. I have been talking about this man and his racism for years, and it still falls on deaf ears. Shane Dawson has not taken accountability for his actions. And okay, so a couple years ago, I started watching Samantha Ravindall, and maybe like a year after I started watching her, a year or two after I started watching her, she had put out this video, and it was like, I'm going to apologize for this video that I did years ago, even though she had already apologized for it. But I guess she had done a version of blackface. And when I heard that she had done a version of blackface, I was like, not Samantha Ravindall, because who she is as a person, there's no way in hell I would have ever thought she would do something like that, based off of her videos, based off her actions, based off the conversations that she has on her channel. She talks so much about diversity, and, you know, she pushes, you know, people of color and makeup brands, like Black-owned makeup brands. And to me, it's not performative, because there are certain people who are performative in their actions. You know, they do it like just during the month of February, or, you know, they put the black square on their Instagram or whatever. Some people are performative, but Samantha did not come off to me as performative. And so finding out that she had done something like that kind of blew my mind. But when you have somebody like Shane Dawson, it's like, oh yeah, I can see that, because he does not talk about those topics on his videos. He doesn't speak about those types of things. He does not care about racism. He doesn't. And he doesn't care about those jokes that he made. And he was making jokes about him being canceled. Like the whole time he was like, we make mistakes. Oh yeah, we do. And he always does that self-deprecating humor to try to make him seem like he's relatable, but it's not funny at all. Like, I watch his videos like, where's the joke? Where's the punchline? Because there is none. And it's so frustrating for people to just sit there and be like, oh my God, he's so funny, ha ha ha. And all the people who are accepting his apology are people who it never affected, ever. People cannot look at the other side of what Shane Dawson did. They cannot look at the harm that he did, and they can't look at the fact that he never took accountability. And it's people like that. Like, again, I feel so sorry for the society. And it's like, you know, I think that's why a lot of things like toxic relationships are glamorized, because people will see a woman hit a man or a man hit a woman and they'll laugh about it, and they're like, oh, ha ha ha, he. And their reasonings for laughing about it is like, well, she took him back or he took her back. That's not funny. People need to be held accountable for their terrible, terrible actions. And another reason why I know Shane Dawson has not changed is because he didn't bring up anything. All he said was like, well, you know, I learned. What did you learn? There were no specifics given. And he never talked about the cash grab. That was the makeup palette. And people to this day will still say it wasn't a cash grab. How was it not a cash grab? That man did that palette with Jeffree Star, and then was saying things like, yeah, I'm gonna start getting into makeup. I really love makeup. Makeup is amazing, blah, 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 blah. And then maybe like he did one makeup video. He posted one picture of one eye, one unblended eye, and then copped out and was like, the beauty space is so toxic. You collabed with the most toxic person in the beauty space. Of course it's toxic. You're drinking poison. What do you expect? But he refuses to mention, yeah, it was a cash grab. I just, people would, I don't even want to say people, but I feel like some people would, what's the word I'm looking for? People would respect him if he was just honest. I don't understand why shitty people have such a hard time admitting that they are crappy people. And I don't know if it's because they don't want to change. I don't know if it's, I don't know the reasonings. But if people would just admit that they are horrible human beings, then they'd be more respected. People still wouldn't like them, but at least they could admit their faults. Shane has not changed. And just like Malcolm said in his video, he said something along the lines of, you know, the Shane Dawson that's like self-deprecating and he tries to be relatable, that is not Shane Dawson. That is a caricature. That is a persona. The Shane Dawson, the real Shane Dawson, is the Shane Dawson that was screaming and yelling on that live about Tati, which, again, he never brought up or apologized for or took accountability for. Where did he do that? Where did he do that? Because he was just, first of all, what rubbed me the wrong way is how he went live when he was watching Tati's video and he's like, I'm just going to wait for more people to come in here. So you knew what you were doing. Shane knew what he was doing. Yet people, he's changed. I want to know what people's like opinions of change are. Like, I truly want to know. Just because somebody apologized does not mean they've changed. That's like being in an abusive relationship and the person hits you, they apologize, you take them back, but then they continue to hit you over and over, and every time they hit you, all they say is, I'm sorry. That's not change. They have not changed. They just keep saying, I'm sorry, and that's not an apology. All I know is that Shane Dawson is coming back. Oh. Let's not forget how Shane Dawson, like a movie director, took his name off of a project because Shane Dawson was such a menace to work with. And the person was like, you know what? You can take full credit. I do not want my name attached to you at all. That is who Shane Dawson is. That's who Shane Dawson is. And I want to say it was Peter Mon. Peter Mon said that Gabby Hanna said that Shane Dawson is a pathological liar. Now, coming from Gabby Hanna, that's kind of sus. But all of those people are all the same. They're all the same. And look at the people who no longer associate with Shane. Where's Andrew and Garrett and all them? Where are they? They're nowhere to be found. They're no longer working with or for Shane. Who is the common denominator? Shane. The same thing happens with people like Jeffree Star. He has new friends all the time, which now he has no friends. And people, whenever they stop being friends with them, they all have the same stories. They all have the same stories. So they know who these people are. And then on top of that, I mean, who else? James Charles. All these people, Tana Mojo, like, they don't keep the same group of friends for long. And it's like, the common denominator is right there in your face. So anyways, I'm at my workout place. So I'll come back and finish afterwards. You guys, why do I do this to myself? Like, all right, workout is done. When we were stretching, my arms were like shaking. My arms were shaking because we did a lot of arm work. We did leg work. We didn't do any core. But, oh, Jesus Christ. I better have, like, some 22-inch pythons after this. But I use, like, 2.5-pound weights on the bars. But you guys, I haven't worked out in years, so I don't know why I should go in trying to use, like, 10 pounds or anything. So, anyway, what is my seatbelt? There we go. Okay, so continuing on with the Shane Dawson story. I think I got everything out that I needed to. The fact that he hasn't changed, and nobody can convince me otherwise, just like I can't convince, like, people who are convinced he's changed, like, you can't convince them otherwise. But I think it's important to call people out like this because I think it's important to call big influencers out like this because they have such an influence on people and society. And this is why we have people who believe in things like ivermectin, because their favorite person told them about it, so it must be true. People have such a groupthink mentality, and it's scary. It is so, so scary. Okay, I think we're back. Hopefully, we'll see. Apparently, my message does not want to be shared to the world. But, anywho, I know a lot of people will say things like, well, how do you expect people to grow if all you're going to do is bring up their past and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that? If somebody does something that's very, like, something so bad as, like, racism or transphobia or homophobia or any of the isms, and they're a huge public figure. I was talking to somebody about this, and they were saying they feel like they need to have to address it, you know, every time, because I think that way they can teach people. If they've truly grown, they can teach people about what they did and why it was wrong. Oh, I don't think I touched on that. Shane Dawson, maybe I did, but he just never explained why his jokes were bad. All he said was, They were just bad. But how? Like, Jenna Marbles probably had one of the best apologies because she explained how the jokes were hurtful. Like, that's how you do an apology. You acknowledge what you did, you explain why it was harmful, and then there's a call to action. And Shane has done none of that. Absolutely none of that. And I know there's going to be people in the comments, oh, you act like you're perfect. You act like you've never made a mistake in your life. I'm a whole ass addict. I have made a plethora of mistakes in my life. And I've done the I'm sorry over and over and over again. I've done things that people will probably consider, you know, like something that you can never apologize or take back or anything like that. Maybe I'll share my story one day. But I've done things that people would probably look at me like I'm a whole other person and be like, you did something like that. But in your addiction, you do things that you don't see yourself doing. But as long as you continue in your addiction, you're not sorry. You're not, I don't know. It's hard because I understand that addiction is a disease, but until you change that, you're still that same person. You're still the same person. That's how I view it as an addict. I was still that person doing dumb things in my addiction, doing unimaginable things in my addiction. And I can apologize all I want to, but that doesn't mean that I've changed. So until, like I said, you've changed your behavior, it's not an apology. I'm sorry, sometimes it's just not good enough. And I'm sorry is not good enough for racism. I'm sorry is not good enough for being problematic and surrounding yourself purposefully around problematic people. Editing Cherita here. Okay, so I know this is probably like a hot take, but I'm not comparing addiction to being a shitty person. Just because you are an addict doesn't mean you're a terrible human being. You might do terrible things within your addiction, but that doesn't mean that you're a terrible person. So I wanted to make that kind of clear. I know my thoughts were all jumbled when I was talking, but I said what I said, and I think we should have a conversation about that. Continue. So that's how I feel, and I know a lot of people are always like, why do you continue to talk about the same things over and over? Because it's still an issue. We are still giving huge platforms to problematic people, and look what it's doing to the world. People will be like, well, it's not that serious. It is that serious. It is that serious. Did you see who we had in office for 4 years? It's that serious. Look at the things that are happening because of the person who we had in office for 4 years. People feel more comfortable in their racism and their xenophobia. All the phobias and all the isms. People feel comfortable. So, and a lot of people don't change or won't change or won't see the issue until it hurts their pockets, or until it happens to somebody very, very close to them. But like I said, I mean, look at the people who Shane surrounds himself around. Look at the people who have distanced themselves from him. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. At least to me, it's not. So I guess that's it for today's video. Like I said, please go check out It's Malcolm. His video was just so well done, and you don't have to give Shane the view. And also go check out Deaf Noodles if you have not seen his video on it yet. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And until my next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Give me up, I wanna. Gotta work, go berserk, I gotta. Know you gon' wake up. Know you gotta get your cake up. Don't matter if If it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8's my time,